There's Danny.
Gotta get ready.
Welcome to Slasher's Paradise. That's Danny. I'm Lance.
That's
Today we're talking about Halloween 1978, John Carpenter's Halloween. And we're talking about the whole franchise, but today we're starting with Halloween 1. Danny.
It's the granddaddy of them all, Lance.
It's the godfather of slasher films,
It's
right?
the one slasher film that set the bar for all slasher films to come. Wasn't the first, technically. Got to give the credit where credit is due. That would be Black Christmas.
Yes.
But Halloween 1978 definitely launched, catapulted the slasher movie to what we know it is today. And it was what birthed my love for horror movies. Not only that, but my love for Michael Myers. Halloween 1978, Lance, is my favorite, and quite honestly, what I herald as the best movie of all time.
Beautifully said.
Across the board.
Across the board.
Across the board. This is my Mount Everest. This is my Mount Olympus. This is my mountain man.
Oh no. Our poor mountain man.
Oh, foreboding.
So, okay, on your statue, is the statue going to be John Carpenter's face? Is it going to be Deborah Hill's face? Is it going to be Michael Myers' face? Or is it going to be the face of Loomis, Donald Pleasance?
Yes.
All of it. Okay. Just the Mount Rushmore of Halloween.
It has to be the first two that you mentioned, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, who are the team that brought us this creation. They were the ones who thought of the concept, the story, the script. They were a couple at the time. But Deborah Hill no longer with us. John Carpenter is still as salty as ever in his olden age, but he is widely considered one of the Godfather, and if he's the Godfather, she'd be, I guess, the godmother of the slasher movie. So much good stuff came from this movie, and not only did it give me what I love today, which is my affinity for horror, but it gave me my, I guess, some people, they like their superheroes, like, Batman, Superman, Iron Man, or whatnot. My superhero, in a weird way, in the sense of, like, I have all the collectibles. It was the first mask I bought for Halloween. I was him every year for Halloween. Michael Myers. It's just that the boogeyman. It's the coolest thing. It's the absolute coolest thing.
Yeah. I totally agree. And you mentioned the superhero thing before. We've kind of talked about this, but I always drew the same parallel where it's like there's Batman at the time when I was a little kid. Batman, RoboCop, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. They're all in that mix, but Michael is just the fucking coolest.
He is.
Of them all. And he doesn't say a word. He doesn't have to. We don't care.
It does. I mean, neither does Jason, right? But there's something else about Michael that he solidified his ability to speak volumes without actually speaking.
Yeah, and there's such a sense of realism, not only in the first movie, but the franchise. And this is like one of the first franchises that tries world building. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, we try to progress each thing. We try to continue this story. We have some of the same actors and characters continuing on, which is really cool and something that I love and enjoy and defend to this day, which we will go back and forth on about. Which is fine. We may get a little tiff here and there, but
why not?
World building was kind of unheard of for the most part back then. We had Superman in those times, whatever, but in the horror world, we just didn't have it.
Which is so actually, I think what's again what I really love about how much this inspired. And you talk about Superman. That had a huge, with the Christopher Reeve movie, had a huge budget. It was backed by a big production. This did not. It had a $320,000 budget. It was an independent film. It was a guerrilla crew. Everybody was just doing everything. The production designer, the editor, they were. I'm talking about Tommy Lee Wallace. That's the same person. He cut the pumpkin that you see in the opening credits. The star, in a sense, introducing this movie also gave us one of the most awesome actors of our time in Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
This was her breakout role, Jamie Lee Curtis being horror royalty, daughter of Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis. Janet Leigh, of course, is the the original, one of the OG Scream Queens from Psycho.
That's right.
That's her mom. That's her mommy. That's her mommy. And mommy, I want to be in the movies too. Did you know that Jamie Lee Curtis was, they had asked if she would audition for The Exorcist.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, she said that was because they were asking about how she felt about, because she acts a lot with kids in this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in a little bit, I'll give the synopsis about, for those of you that have not seen Halloween, first of all, you're dead to me. Second of all, you should, we'll tell you what it's all about, the actual movie. But they were asking, you're working with kids and stuff like that. Well, she actually doesn't really enjoy it, particularly working with kids. It's not that she hates kids. That's not true. She has kids of her own. It's the fact that she thinks that kids should be kids. Kids should be allowed to be kids. And when a kid or a child is on a movie set, there's a lot that's expected. That's like being a grown up.
Right.
Yeah. So when the audition came through about The Exorcist, she praises and loves her mom for that. Her mom was able to be that, be her mom about it. She was like, no, you're not doing that movie.
Good for her.
Good for her. Absolutely. Who knows what would have.
I know we might not have Jamie Lee Curtis, the Scream Queen of the 80s.
Absolutely.
We might not have Laurie Strode in such a great light. All right, Danny, are we done talking about the franchise for a moment?
For a little bit.
We're going to dive in to the Halloween movie.
Yes.
Give us our pumpkin spice latte.
Of course. Pumpkin spice latte, surface review of Halloween 1978, or synopsis, whatever you want to call it. 15 years after murdering his sister in cold blood in 1963, Michael Myers is now an escaped mental patient. He's escaped and is now returning to Haddonfield, Illinois, to wreak havoc on the town that he once was a citizen of, but also scared the shit of. So now an older Michael Myers, donning a Halloween mask, is stalking babysitters, and whilst his doctor, Sam Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance, is hot on his trail, trying to stop him with the help of the local sheriff. Michael Myers is stalking babysitters and picking them off one by one, with eventually a final clash maybe with Jamie Lee Curtis's character of Laurie Strode. When I say 15 years after he murdered his sister, you did the math. There was math to be done. He killed his sister when he was
6 years old.
6 years old. A 6-year-old clown costumed Michael Myers decided, you know what, sis? I don't like you anymore.
Time's up.
Time's up. She's supposed to be watching him on Halloween night. It happens on Halloween night, right? Of course. Thus the title of the movie.
Which no movie had the title Halloween in it up to this point.
Which is very cool.
Fun
because
fact.
You're like, no movie had Halloween, but movies had holidays in their names. I mean, we just talked about Black Christmas.
Yeah.
But if you notice, after Halloween and after Black Christmas, then you got a shitload of movies with, all about holidays, New Year's Evil and April Fool's Day. And, I think there's a Father's Day or something like that. They need to make a Flag Day horror movie.
And I believe there is one on
I mean,
YouTube.
I know there's one about Uncle Sam and the 4th of July, but they need to make a Flag Day one. It's just, which flag are you putting in your yard? And can I kill you with it? Sort of thing.
Okay. Interesting.
You know what? Copyright owned by Slash's Paradise, that idea. So anyway, you can't have it. Sorry.
Written by Danny Gonzalez himself.
Okay, so back to Halloween 1978. He's a 6-year-old boy in a clown costume, was trick-or-treating, but he's normal kids go out for candy. He's going to go out for some kills and thrills.
That's right.
So Judith Myers, his sister, is upstairs, which we see her downstairs through the point of view of the killer, which is how this movie opens, which is so cool.
Yes. Let's talk about the opening. The very first scene, the very first shot.
The very first shot you see is an opening of the actual house, the Myers house, which would be very important later. But you see it in its, normal state. It's nice enough looking house in suburban America, right? It's supposed to be set in Illinois.
We get this great moon blue light splashed on it, and we're also greeted by this terrifying synth piano sting with the house. This is a first shot we get, and what I love about this is eventually this becomes the haunted house of this small town of Haddonfield, and this is like the origins of the haunted house. And that's what the shot signifies to me, is like, this is when it happens. This is when Haddonfield changes, and now you're gonna watch what happens.
It's the genesis of the haunted house of this town. It's the beginning. Very well said. I mean, I had a haunted house ish sort of thing in my. I mean, we had El Cucuy where I'm from, but I mean, I saw him and he's terrifying.
You saw him, yeah.
I sent him a card here and there, but
yeah. Well, we both come from smallish towns that had their legends and all this kind of stuff. But this is when we're seeing the origins of it. This actually happened in Haddonfield.
So we see the origins of the boogeyman, the boogeyman, the boogeyman. Yeah, we say that a lot because he's Michael Myers is going to be referenced by a lot of names. Michael Myers is who he is, but as he grows up, he's the kids will call him the boogeyman, or they're referencing the boogeyman as like, maybe it is Michael Myers, but maybe it's the boogeyman is everywhere. It's like the he's gonna get you sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
the idea of just this dark character somewhere, right?
Right. But most importantly, you will hear him referenced as the shape. And the reason he's referenced as the shape is because that's what he represents throughout most of the movie, is just this shape that travels and moves through the corridors, and he's just around, and he doesn't really have a face because he's wearing a mask. And then when you actually do see the face, what is it? It's emotionless, blank, pale,
human white,
emotionless.
Yes.
So anyway, we see Michael's point of view, and he sees Judith. It's a beautiful, long, establishing point of view shot that you really don't know who it is. You just know that it's someone who's watching.
Right.
And then it makes its way from viewing or observing, right, from on the outside, goes all the way into the inside. You see him pick up a knife. You don't know if it's a man, woman, child. You don't know anything at this point. You just know that someone's got a knife and is watching this couple who allude that they're going to go upstairs and get busy. They're going to get down to it. And you're like, all right, so you're going to go up and you're going to get busy. I probably have they're in high school. I got about maybe 5-10 minutes to kind of, get my stuff going. No, as soon as he comes in, by the time he hooks to the side, the slowest or quickest sex scene in history is done. The guy's coming down the stairs after having canoodled post-coitus, right?
It's so fast that we don't even... We're following this character, and it's done before we can even get to the stairway. I mean, so they go upstairs, they come down.
I mean,
the boyfriend is done.
He got his, and he's almost like coming down the stairs, putting on his shirt. He's like, "Yeah, I'll call you." Like he's mad,
right?
Like so. Then you're like, "Did you have performance issues? What happened? Are you like, what are you so mad about?" Like he's a good looking enough guy. His hair's coif, and that's the thing is that I'm really jealous about coif hair. You'll hear this throughout.
Will we? Okay.
No. Anyway, so the shot continues. There goes Michael. We see the point of view. We don't know it's Michael. He's going up, and he comes upon Judith, very beautiful young Judith Myers, in front of her vanity, brushing her hair. She's naked. It's very seductive. It's very risque. It's very taboo.
I like that your voice has to drop when you say naked.
It's very naked. Did you guys?
She's very naked.
She's very naked. She's in the nude. Yeah.
Anyway.
I guess it's my Catholic upbringing, just kind of like peeking its head through.
I've noticed this every time you're on the mic. You kind of dim down her breasts, and they're having sex. And
I'm so sorry, Lance, that I respect the more intimate moments.
It just makes me laugh. It's funny. Got to point it out. All right, keep going.
No, then I mean, it's gonna happen. Judith turns around, sees that somebody is looking at her. It is now through the point of view through a mask.
Yes, we see eye holes.
We see eye holes, and she reacts to it, and we know who it is now. She yells, "Michael!" Covers herself. He starts stabbing her, and almost like, right? He looks. The shot is like, I'm looking at what I'm doing. Oh my God! Right. I'm actually killing. Isn't this?
Yes. There's the shot where the stabbing has begun, and then the eye holes creep up and is watching the hand movement. And John Carpenter kind of said, like, I don't know why we did that, but the inner dialogue that we talk about is like what we translate as super fans of this is like, oh my God, this is happening. And there's this like joy of like, I'm going to keep doing this. And you know, it starts to go faster.
It does.
The stabbing goes a little faster.
Yeah. I mean, no, not gonna make that joke. That's terrible.
Okay.
Just something about penetration. Anyway, so he goes down, and we just heard. We know it's Michael. Goes down the stairs, comes out, and it's still through these eye hole point of view, which is through a mask. And then his parents. You know, we assume it's his parents coming home from God knows where they were, not paying attention. Obviously. Have you checked on the children? No, they haven't until it's all done. They check on Michael. The dad's like, Michael? What are you doing? Takes off his mask, and then it's this big zoom out that gets Michael, the parents, the house with Michael, a 6-year-old boy. You did not expect this.
Right.
In his clown costume with a bloody knife.
Bloody knife.
That's your opening shot.
And I love the look in the kid's face. Like, I mean, for a child actor to like have total shock, the way they pull his mask off, his head kind of shakes just from like the motion of pulling the mask off. And then we just get this shocked, like catatonic look of this little boy holding a bloody knife and what he just did. Like now he's totally removed from what he just did, which is awesome because it totally sets up the Michael that we get to know later on.
Well, what's also like, I mean, you're talking about 1978. You're talking about what our audiences, you know, used to seeing, and there. I mean, if you're in the theater and you see that this horrific thing just happened, this young girl just got brutally murdered and stabbed to death, and then you see it's a kid, and not only is it a kid, it's her. I mean, it's her brother, right? I mean, you see it nowadays. Well, what, you know, kids are assholes. You know, you'd be like, yeah, that tracks. You know, that tracks. I'm sure that's gonna happen. But at the time, it's like, whoa, oh my gosh, what shock. So yeah, that's our first sequence, and it takes us. It jumps forward 15 years later.
Yes. And we're in Smith's Grove at this point.
Yeah, we're in Smith's Grove, and we're introduced to Loomis and
Loomis, the best character in this series. We're going to talk about that a lot.
He's a great character. He is a great character.
He is so important.
He is a very important. I will give you that character in the series. If he's the most important, I don't know. I know he's the most consistent. You know, because he's played by one man and one man only.
What I always say is the difference between Michael and everyone else, and why I enjoy Michael, is Loomis is this voice of Michael throughout. He's the bringer of, you know, doom, and he lets the town know like this evil is coming towards you, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But he's just always this voice, and nobody else really has that.
No, but
and there's a movie that calls him the Ahab, kind of like he's the Ahab for Michael, where he's just gonna tell his story constantly because Michael won't. He's just gonna show up,
and Michael is he as the series progresses. Yes, Michael is that white whale that you know he's hunting and searching. But in this opening one, you almost assume, you're like, all right, yeah, this dude looks assertive. He looks like he would know what he's talking about. I mean, we don't know much about Michael. The fact that all we know is that he was a kid, and now he's definitely committed because, you know, we have a doctor. So we're introduced to a doctor who is not like he's not in an operating room. He's obviously a psychiatrist. Right. So, psychologist.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if he deals out any drugs, but anyway.
So, you know, we see him, and it's 15 years later. He's going to be tried as an adult now. But you know what's cool about this whole back and forth and how we're introduced to Loomis is how unsettled he is, even though he looks very calm. Yeah, there's like this ultimate delivery in Donald Pleasance. It's just like he's so annoyed with the bureaucrats that are probably not. First of all, let's just get this out there. I don't know if I already said it, but if you see Dr. Loomis, if you see Donald Pleasance talking at all, he's talking to someone who doesn't believe him and doesn't fucking get it. And he's just annoyed. Never. Nobody has ever, maybe one time when it was, but I'm not even going to get into that. No, nobody ever listens to Loomis. No. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating because, like, who is the only person that actually sounds like they know what they're talking about? Lewis. The man with the English accent. Yeah. He's an English man in middle America. Listen to the motherfucker.
Exactly. There was a reason they...
Yes. Listen to him. And I'm like, yeah, like, if a doctor's like, you probably shouldn't do that because you'll hurt your hand or whatever, and you're like, yeah, I probably won't do that. But if an English doctor with a bald head and a badass goatee is like, you should not do that, you'll hurt your hand, I'll be like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely, I will not do that.
And
no,
you know
obviously,
what? I know that was the best English accent you've ever heard, and you're welcome.
It's a great Loomis. I will say that.
Whatever. Anyway, yeah, so what's going to happen next is pretty awesome. It's shot so guerrilla style, which is what I love. And when we say guerrilla, it's like all hands on deck. Everybody is helping. They shot this scene. They're in a car. They shot it in a garage.
Right.
And it's like cool because there's like they're driving and there's rain. You mentioned the shot earlier of this beautiful blue moonlight. We got to talk about the DP, Dean Cundy, who would have shot this movie, Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 as far as the franchise goes, but he would go on to shoot many awesome movies.
Right.
He's so good, so gifted. But I said he's an escape mental patient, and this is what happens. They drive up to the hospital, and everything is chaos. Everybody's out. All the mental patients are just walking around in the moonlight and in the rain.
Right.
How stupid.
But again, this movie's shot so dark, so all we really come up is like there's headlights on people in gowns in the middle of the night. It's completely dark and black, and all we have is the lighting of the headlights coming up on mental patients.
It's so true.
And what's cool is like you never really think about this or talk about this, but this is the classic tale of a mental patient escapes and goes and terrorizes a town kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like I never really thought about it like that until you really break down this movie, because I think it's so well done. It's a lot more intelligent than just an old camp story, but that's what it is. An escaped mental patient goes and terrorizes a town. But
yeah, like what, oh no, of course nobody in the town is crazy. It's the people in the mental institution that are crazy. As long as we keep the kooks in the kook house, we're going to be fine. Which is bullshit. But anyway, that's this story that that it's being told. Even then, they drive up and they see all these. Again, this is back to nobody listens or believes Loomis or is paying attention. Everyone is in their own freaking state of disbelief or ignorance. He's driving with a nurse who's driving him, and she sees all these mental patients, and she's like, when did I didn't know they let him out at night. Are you fucking stupid? I'm sorry, but like,
I forgot.
Why is that your initial reaction? No, they don't let him walk around at night unsupervised in the rain. And Lewis is like, son of a bitch. He's like, I knew this shit was going to happen. So he's like, right? So
it's they're horses or something. Like, let them out of the stable.
The horses are out again. No,
God damn it! No, they're fucking mental patients. What the fuck?
But
I didn't even think of that.
No, it's so true. You are driving up to a sanitarium. You see a bunch of mental patients chilling outside in the rain, mind you, soaking wet. And your initial reaction isn't like, oh shit, they're out. No, your initial reaction is, I didn't know they let them walk around. Since when did they let them walk around?
How nice. How nice for them.
And Loomis has his little, so the fuse has been lit. He's done. He's done playing nice. You could see he's going to be snarky and already moody. And he's like, I told everybody, they didn't listen. So he's like, drive up to the gate. And she's like, well, what if he's like, shut the fuck up. Well, he says, go on, move. And you're like, oh, there you are. All right, I'm terrified now, and I believe you. Anyway, sets the scene. Michael eventually, commandeers the car, kicks the nurse out, takes off, and the evil is gone from the asylum.
Yes, he drives away. All right, so I don't want to go chronologically, but let's introduce ourselves to Laurie Strode.
Laurie Strode, as mentioned before, Jamie Lee Curtis, so adorable, so cute, so innocent. I think they knocked it out of the park with this casting.
Yeah, definitely.
I know. I mean, what people don't realize when if you're not in the acting industry or the movie industry, and you don't know what actors go through. Sometimes you see movies in their finished product, you're like, oh, cool, they got everybody right. But the process is usually pretty tedious. You send out a huge audition, you get it, and you dwindle it down, and then there's second, third, fourth screen tests. It's really tedious. By the time someone books a movie, it's a lot. It's huge. I know that Jamie didn't book it outright. I know that it was down between her and someone else. But so wonderfully acted. She's the girl next door, if that phrase still exists today. She's the good student, babysitter, good daughter. It opens with her doing something for her dad.
Right.
Like just all around well-rounded. You don't even see or hear a lot from her, and you're like, I already like this girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like her already.
Yeah.
I like her a lot, in the sense that like now, but back then you're like, what a nice girl. Nothing bad's gonna happen to her.
Absolutely.
And now you see, if you fall in love with any character, it's like, oh fuck, damn it, they're gonna die, aren't they? Right? Because they're just gonna kill it.
Right.
They're gonna take your soul and crush it.
You're right. She's just such a sweet girl. We see her interacting with a little kid named Tommy Doyle. She's just a nice, sweet girl. It's perfectly done, perfectly cast.
Everything she's talking about with Tommy, though, it's like, it's Halloween, so she's like gonna babysit him. It's like, are we gonna you gonna make jack-o'-lanterns? We're gonna make popcorn.
Right.
Like, what a badass freaking babysitter!
Right.
I would love that babysitter.
Pay a little extra for Lori.
Yeah, Lori's the premium babysitter.
Yeah, that's right. She's the top tier babysitter.
She's the one that, it's like Lori's your top babysitter, and then if you want like a discount, like, we'll make sure that your kid won't die, but it's probably not going to do anything extra. You got your Annie, which is her,
right?
Which is her friend as well. But let's go right into it. We have Lori, but we also have her band of friends, which is not a huge band. It's just two extra friends.
Which is great because it's that close knit group. But each of them has such a different personality, but they kind of like trade off with each other. I think each of them have a little bit of each other within themselves.
Right. Lori's going to be the good girl, so she's not going to, it's established she's not going to have a boyfriend. She's going to be into her books. Is even a point when they're walking home from school, and when I say they, I mean Annie, who's played by Nancy Loomis, and Annie Brackett, by the way. It's going to be important. And Linda, and I don't remember Linda's last name. I don't think they ever say it. I think it's like Hofstetter or something like that. It's something. Anyway, yeah. Linda, played by PJ Souls, one of the mean girls from Carrie, is so well done. But Linda's gonna be she's the cheerleader, and she's talking about going to the dance, and you can tell that she's one of the cool hip girls who's probably a little promiscuous, whatever, who cares. Annie's talking about Paul, which is her boyfriend who got in trouble, so she's so sad they're not going to be able to hang out tonight. Old Jerko got caught soaping windows. What is soaping windows? I don't know what the hell that is.
Soaping windows.
That's what she says. Old Jerko got caught throwing eggs and soaping windows. His parents grounded him.
I don't know.
Is that like? Is it just you take a sponge full of soap? Oh no, do you get like a bar of soap and you're like, and you soap the window? And like people can't see out of it?
Could be, but if he's egging it, then it's almost like he egged it and then he cleaned it.
Oh shit! Let me clean that up there. Oh, I made it worse. I remember I was like, that's not anything that I did. We did the toilet paper.
We could ask our parents. Maybe soaping was a thing back then.
I gotta talk.
This is 1978. Remember, we weren't born until late 80s, so mid 80s, late 80s. So. Again, we grew up with a number of these movies already out and established and popular and all that kind of stuff. So we're going back 10 years-ish before we were born, 8, 6, whatever.
Yeah.
But
and when I say walking home from school, we've already had one interaction with Lori and the Shape.
Yeah.
She saw him while she was in class. Again, hammering down the idea that she's a good student, because even though she looks out the window and sees the Shape standing by the stolen station wagon, she's distracted, but then she's called on. It's like, I used to be a teacher, so it was like one of those when you see your kid isn't
right,
and the student isn't.
Of course, call on that.
All you gotta do is call on them, but like not be mean. You just gotta be like, and what was I saying?
Right. Yeah.
Would you like to answer the question now?
Yeah. God, that was the worst.
And Lori's just like, yeah, and I'm gonna fucking kill it.
Yeah.
She just like gave the best answer to the question, and the teacher's like, that's right. Just so like put in her place. But then we see that the Shape is gone. Okay, so now they're walking home from school and we see the Shape again. Now he's just driving by them. Oh boy, I love this moment. He's driving by them and Lori is already freaked out because she's seen him already, right? She's like
paranoid, but she doesn't know if she totally saw it.
Right. Right, because like, he was there and then he disappeared.
Right. So what the hell am I seeing? It is Halloween,
we don't know, and we don't know who it is. It could be the Boogeyman. It could be Devon Graham. That's what PJ thinks he's cute. I don't know how cute you can be driving a government station wagon, but whatever. But there he is. He's going, and Annie is already pissed because of Paul. So she's, she sees that the car is maybe going a little too fast, and she yells out a very famous like, "Hey, jerk. Speed kills." And what does the shape do? Slams on the brakes.
Slams them on.
And while you're watching on VHS, you can't really see. You see that obviously the car's braked and is stopped, and the music is playing and it's intensifying. But when you watch it on Blu-ray,
this is the creepiest thing.
It's so creepy because you can see things more clearly. Not only did he stop, but he did one of the.
Oh, what's that?
What?
That authority.
he's turned completely around, looking back at her and almost like, ¿Qué onda? Okay. He's just like, and she's like, God, can you take a joke? Yeah, I would say that too. I would probably be running my pants. My pants would be shit and they would be running. It is so terrifying.
Right, it is.
Oh my God.
And you actually see Annie's face kind of drop a little bit.
Well, sure.
Sure. Yes.
Why not? Right. A man in a mask is giving you the say it again in my face.
Yeah, but she still has a little bit of that attitude. PJ Soul's character obviously has a lot more attitude.
Yeah.
But Annie's character is like a great in between Lori and
Linda.
Yeah. Yes. Annie's a great in between because she's got the attitude of Linda, but she's just a little more mature and she's kind of on that side of Lori. So you see Annie's face drop. You see Lori just totally concerned and embarrassed and like, oh shit, who do we just piss off? Some
big trouble.
Oh, the fucking mumbles. We're gonna talk about that. I can't wait.
Great delivery. But anyway, what's cool. You talked about the dynamic of the tight knit group. We see that. We see how they affect each other, and they're real.
And it makes it so personal that you connect to it. Deborah Hill actually wrote all their commentary, and
Phenomenal.
John Carpenter went, "Thank you," because that matters.
I was not going to be able to do that,
right?
So, or maybe not, but like it wouldn't have come out as personal and as again real as it did.
We talk about it. It's just an everyday thing. There's nothing going on. It's a Halloween day. Nothing's gonna happen to these girls. Everything's fine. It's just a normal day.
Yeah, we have a little weird moment because some guy braked, and I mean it's not totally out of the question. I mean I've been driving around, and first of all. He heard through the windows, which, again, supernatural stuff. He's like a wolf. But if somebody yelled at me, I might break and be like, ¿Qué onda? Okay, what? Am I going too fast? What's wrong, Annie? I don't know why I make him so sassy. But, we continue on in the movie. We can talk about any moment in the movie, Lance. We can talk about any moment and just gush about it. I mean, from Loomis meeting Brackett and, strategically missing Michael because Michael's like behind him and Loomis is like looking around.
I just wanted to talk about that scene. Yes.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about it.
So Loomis is in the town of Haddonfield finally looking for Michael. And there's a shot where Michael literally pulls up in the station wagon.
Yep.
And Loomis is looking one way. Michael drives this curve around him and Loomis looks the other way. And it's this funny moment. And I talk about the playfulness of Michael throughout the whole series.
Yep.
But this is one of those moments where I just see it as like, oh, there's fucking Loomis. He's like driving by like, fuck. Like almost giving him the middle finger as he goes by him because Loomis does not notice it. But it's that sense of Michael's everywhere now in this town and Loomis just misses him.
But he's everywhere and he's also nowhere.
Right.
Like he's everywhere, but you got to be quicker than that.
Wheel it in.
Yeah, you got. I mean, he just misses him, and it's not one of those like hit your mark. Oh, there he is. No, it's done perfectly by Donald Pleasance. But we do get that interaction between him and Brackett, who's introduced to us. He was introduced to us earlier by doing a jump scare on Lori and uttering out one of the best lines of the series, and has been recycled. When he scares Lori. He says, "Oh, excuse me, Lowry." Charles Cyphers. He's such a suburban, just a down home police or sheriff. You know what I mean? He's just one of those like it's his police force is maybe like 5 guys, even less. He's just he's just this guy. He's like, oh yeah, I could totally see the sheriff living next door to me. But he says to Lori as he scares her, it's Halloween. I guess we're all entitled to one good scare.
Right. But one thing we want to talk about is that the sheriff is coherent. You believe him.
Thank you.
It's so important in the series until later on, but there's the police department of Haddonfield is always on it. It adds legitimacy to what's going on and the seriousness of Michael Myers kind of running around. He questions Loomis quite often.
Well, everybody does, but yes.
Everyone does, but why wouldn't he question him? Like, oh, not in my small town. This is, nothing ever happens here. Oh, there was a break-in at the hardware store. Okay, that's really odd.
Probably kids. Blah,
but
blah.
yeah, probably kids. All they stole was what?
Halloween mask, a rope, and a couple of knives. Who do you think did it?
A couple of kids, right? But yeah, there is something to be said about the legitimacy of the sheriffs that we get through most of the series,
because you don't want dumb characters, and and again, the slasher trope has not progressed. This is the granddaddy. So, well, yeah, I'm gonna make smart characters. I'm gonna make believable characters, and they don't necessarily have to be smart, but they don't have to be like
kooky and
doing something that was out of the ordinary of a human being. Make them. I mean, the only thing that I will say that none of these characters have is peripheral vision, except Lori.
Right.
Except Lori. She is the most observant character in this series, which is why I think I'm drawn to this performance so much, is because she is like how I would imagine myself in the horror movie.
Yeah.
I would be looking, hey, what was that? No.
Right.
What was that?
And again, the dynamic about this whole thing, Carpenter says that Lori is a watcher like Michael is a watcher, right? Lori is aware of everything. She is not distracted by anything. She sees everything. We go back to the scene where she's in class. Not only is she listening to the teacher and she knows what's going on, but she's looking out the window and noticing that there's a dude staring at her from outside, and then can still collect herself when she's asked a question in the room, and answers the question brilliantly, right? But this is a play on what happens with the rest of the movie. Everyone else is distracted.
Because he's going to be stalking them. He's going to be stalking them, and if you had any sort of, if you were paranoid in any which way, which, I mean, not to say that he doesn't stalk Lori, he does, and she sees him though. But when he stalks Linda and he stalks Annie and he stalks, pretty much them, they don't see him ever until it's too late.
Right. One more thing. I want to kind of go back with the bullies of this for Tommy. Remember Tommy?
Right. So we introduced Tommy. He is Lori's charge for the night. He is her.
You remind me, because he's not only stalking Lori, he starts stalking Tommy for a minute. And there's a scene where Tommy's getting bullied, and John Carpenter kind of even said, like, this is like an everyday thing now. This is in almost every movie, but back then.
Yeah, bullies get worse in this series, but they're pretty bad already.
Oh, yeah. We'll get heated on the bullies later on. So one of the bullies runs around the corner and runs into the Shape. And all we see is a dude in a jumpsuit stops him.
Yep.
And holds him. But there's something that I love. There's a little detail on this. Tommy's walking on the other side of the courtyard. The Shape lets this kid go. And he has this little playful twist to him. Nick Castle, who plays the Shape, is so awesome in this, and nobody ever does compare to him. But he has this little like twist, and he puts his hand on the fence, and he kind of starts dragging his hand along the fence. And you remember, like, I started to like put myself in the Shape's shoes. He's 21 years old. There should be some playfulness, right?
Absolutely.
Like, he's been locked up since he was 6 years old, and now he's out to play on Halloween. His night, you know what I mean? So
the last thing he remembers of being out in the real world is donning a costume and killing. So if this is his maybe view of how he views the night, or this is how he trick or treats, or this is where he's at, because when Loomis and Brackett start talking later, and Loomis is now he's almost like the filler in as to the years we missed, because it's 15 years later, and he is the in between of the two, child Michael and now adult Michael. So he's talking about they go to the Myers house, which is now run down, decrepit, and is the boogeyman's house. So nobody's lived there, and even Sheriff Brackett mentions, he's like, I don't think anybody's lived here since it happened.
Right.
Everyone in Haddonfield thinks it's haunted, and what does Loomis say? They're probably right.
Yeah, right.
And you're almost like, in hindsight, knowing what Michael Myers has been now, you're like, yeah, that is the haunted house. But why would a man say that about somebody who was a kid, committed a crime, has been locked up, you know? Loomis knows.
Right.
He knows what he's got. He never, I mean, there's a dead possum. No, it's a dog. There's a dead dog in the house. They never show it, but Brackett walks up to it. He's like, it's a dog. And what is Mike? I mean, Loomis is like, oh, yeah, he probably killed the dog. Yeah, he killed Mike. Him being Michael killed the dog. But Loomis says, probably got hungry. What? He probably got hungry?
Yeah.
He probably got hungry? You're talking about a man who's just eating dogs raw, didn't even cook it? First of all, don't eat the dogs. Second of all, why are you eating it raw?
No. This is not a literal interpretation. This is what I talk about. I will talk about on Halloween 2 and so on. This is Michael building his power. He got hungry to kill. So he killed the dog because he went home. He went to his house. He went to the haunted house. He went to what he knows best. That's his house. There's a dog. He makes the kill. It's not like he's going to eat the dog.
Well, I don't know. I just don't know.
I don't think Michael Myers is a cannibal.
He might be. Well, first of all, he's eating a dog. It's not a...
Okay, well, all right. You're right.
Well, okay.
Not a cannibal.
I see your point.
Thank you.
But I also say what follows that line... Because Brackett shakes it off. He's like, nah, it could have been a skunk. Do skunks kill dogs?
Do they?
Apparently they do in Haddonfield.
Wait. This small town is not worried about Michael Myers, the slasher killer.
We got a skunk problem.
We got a major skunk problem. They're killing dogs.
But Brackett says, as he's still looking at to what we don't see, we never see the dead dog, but Brackett says a man couldn't have done that. And Loomis just like is so disgusted. He's like, I have to keep on explaining this shit to you.
Right.
He's like,
really?
This isn't a man. Woof.
Yeah.
That's already like, okay. So then they go and they're walking through the house, the Myers house, trying to see if maybe they can pick up a clue or something like that. And Loomis delivers an amazing monologue. I know it all, but I won't do it. Just so you know what we're dealing with. He talks about how he met a boy who had a blank emotionless face, and he knows that it's not a man, it is not a boy, it is purely and simply evil. And that is how we are to know Michael.
Right.
That is how John Carpenter and Deborah Hill intended us to know Michael.
Right.
He is not a man, he is not a serial killer, he is evil incarnate. So the fact that maybe he is immortal, maybe he can't die, maybe he does extra things that a normal human being wouldn't do. We don't know. We just know that he's able to and will do things otherworldly.
Right.
And that's what he represents.
Absolutely.
It's very good. It's a very great scene, and obviously very well shot. But it's called The Babysitter Murder, so we got to see some babysitters.
Let's see them.
Well, we got some babysitting going on between Annie and Laurie, and Laurie is babysitting Tommy Doyle, who we already established, and now we are introduced to little Lindsay Wallace. Little Lindsay Wallace, who can't be bothered unless it's to go over across the street and watch with Tommy Doyle. So little Lindsay's a little hot pants.
We have romance everywhere. She's definitely not a Laurie Strode.
No, but little Lindsay is being babysat. Is that right? Babysitted. She's baby Soot. No.
Soot.
She's being looked after by Annie across the street. So we got these two friends watching kids across the street. That's established. And the shape is ever present, watching, looking around, being creepy. But what was funny about, and by the way, Lindsay Wallace is played as, she's a child, but she's played by Kyle Richards, one of the Real Housewives of Orange County.
I believe. I don't know.
It's one of the. She's one of the very famous Real Housewives, and she's going to be making her grand return in the new Halloween that is coming out next year in 2021.
Crap.
Yeah. She's coming back as Lindsay. Anyway, so they're watching the Horror-thon. I love this because I watched the Horror-thon on Halloween.
Me too.
And the Horror-thon for me was Halloween the movie and everything in between. But it's so cool because they're both watching a thing from another planet, which is so cool because it's like it's John Carpenter's personal
favorite,
and it's also his personal movie. It's his tape.
Oh right.
And he says it's the thing. It's the thing before VHS, and it's not Betamax. He didn't remember what it was, But again, back to that Gorilla Crew
his
stuff.
copy of the actual film. Yeah.
It's so endearing that everyone is just helping. And I love that about this movie. Everyone gets to do everything. It's so cool.
Absolutely. And we even talk about that. The opening scene was actually filmed on the last day. And it was a decrepit house,
right?
That they had to clean up and make look like. And it was the whole crew, even
even
Jamie,
Laurie,
even Jamie Lee Curtis was a part of this.
Painting. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's such a cool thing. There's so much love and passion put into this project. That's why it's so good. That's why it's a. That's classic.
Why we are love and are passionate and are here now talking to you
exactly
about it.
That's why there's such a great fandom now, is because it just translates.
It does.
We have to feed into that. There's a scene that we got to talk about, is Tommy looking outside the window and the shape is across the street.
Right.
This scene is what terrified me as a kid. We've talked about this. I was on the second story of my childhood home, looking down into the neighborhood. I was the only kid on that side of the house. So this is something that I played in my head constantly. I had nightmares about. I would peek outside my window, and I lived in that suburban neighborhood. All the lights looked exactly the same, and I always expected to see the shape staring at me from across the street, and it's terrifying. And it's one of those reasons I connect to the film.
Yeah.
And I love that shot. And there's a couple times where they see Michael across the street doing his business, and that always terrified me the most and connected me to the film and Tommy and having these kids a part of it.
Absolutely. It is terrifying. I mean, I could tell you that I kind of grew up in the same situation, living on the second floor. And one time, I mean, yeah, I would look out. I mean, we did live in a in a neighborhood, a subdivision. And actually one time I looked outside, and I was up all watching movie after movie after movie, and just like I'd been up in my room, and I was like, you know what, I'm half expecting, it was already dusk, I'm half expecting to see the shape outside. And I looked out my window and I saw my dad. He was like, get your ass out of here and throw the trash already. I told you I was in my room all day. Yeah, I was just watching movies all day. No, but anyway, yeah, I can totally get it. Totally scary. We're in the nighttime now. I mean, it's all Halloween night from here on out. That's a great scene of Tommy seeing the shape outside, and we get little long established shots, well lit, in the sense of, the shape is not lit up to where you can make out exactly. This is just the shape of a man who's, freaking you out. He's representing the boogeyman. And that's what, like, Tommy, is like, I just saw the boogeyman. And
right.
Tommy's like a mini Loomis. Nobody believes him.
That's right.
Nobody.
Why would you?
Right. He's like, once Lindsay, Lindsay comes across the street because Annie's going to go find Paul because she can no longer stall.
Right.
She can no longer stall. She has to go see Paul. Please, Paul. I love that song. Wait.
There it is. Yes.
So Annie's singing this song all throughout because she's getting ready to go see Paul, because she's ready to, she's ready to, see him. So she leaves Lindsay with Laurie across the street. And when Tommy does see the shape, Tommy starts screaming very high pitch. It's fine. That the boogeyman's outside. Right. And then, scares the crap out of Lindsay, and Laurie like runs to his aid, sees that obviously now he's gone. He's not there.
There's nothing there.
Laurie's like, there's nobody out there. And stop. If you don't stop, I'm gonna have to turn off the TV and send you to bed. You're scaring Lindsay. Tommy's so defeated. Nobody believes me. And Lindsay, who is just terrified a little while ago, is like, I believe you, Tommy.
Fucking dude.
Okay, Lindsay.
Lindsay's like a little mini Linda Annie. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
she's she's making her brownie points with the astronaut dressed, little Tommy. Okay, Lindsay.
Okay.
And Laurie, I love that part because Laurie's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
What the hell am I doing here?
All right. So Annie has spilled coffee on herself. She has to go to the laundry room, which is separated from the house.
Ooh.
Which is such a fucking killer scene. It's this little room. It's a little laundry room. It's separated, but it's lit so perfectly, and the shape is outside, and we see the shape. But again, it's just this white face, and the way everything is lit, all you see is like the eye holes and like a little bit.
But you see it through a window.
Through
you
a
see
window,
it behind a curtain.
Right, you see it everywhere.
It's never
but
straight on.
But if you like break down the colors of the film that you're watching, it's black and like a light pale blue, and that's it. That's the only color in this shot. And there's so much tension. We got to talk about the tension and the long scenes in this movie. So you get a payoff in the end, but you have to wait and wait and wait, and nothing happens.
Oh my gosh, no! I mean, she locks herself in, can hear the phone ringing, and it's Paul. Lindsay, answer the door, and like Lindsay this is before she goes across the street, is watching the horathon, not giving a shit. I love it because it's just a shot of her. She's just watching the horathon. Annie is stuck, screaming for her life. First of all, do you like to do laundry? I don't think anyone likes to do laundry. Oh. You want to know when I don't like to do laundry?
When is that?
Is on Halloween night when the laundry room is at least 100 yards across the freaking lawn in its own place.
It's a big place.
I don't want to. It's a huge. It's
football field
500 yards. It's a mile across. It's far from the house. I mean, this was common. Laundry rooms were like in their own little shack across the lawn. I don't want to be. It's terrifying. She's got to go out there. She's alone. But yeah, you're right. Tension, build up, and nothing happens. She gets stuck in the window because,
of course she does.
She's trying to get out, and you're like, oh, he's gonna get her. Nope. Doesn't get her. Nope. And the audience is like this the whole time.
Right.
Oh. Okay.
Nothing. Wow.
Ooh, we can exhale a little bit. I thought it was gonna happen, and
right.
It doesn't.
And you get this relief, and you're like, okay, so now I don't know when anything's going to happen, right?
I don't know anything.
We're obviously out of order, but Annie now
doesn't matter. Screw it.
Annie goes to her car.
Right. She goes to her car. It's locked. She forgets the keys, but please, oh, Paul. I'm sorry. I love this song. I need it recorded on a vinyl. She goes to go get the keys to go open the car, but when she comes back to the car, now she could just open it. Doesn't even unlock it. Something's weird. Something's off.
Right.
Something is the foot. Anyway, goes in and the windows are all fogged up.
Yes.
She's been whistling this awesome tune and does the on the window. She finally, her only moment of something's not right, because before she was oblivious.
Right.
And right when you drop your guard or you finally know that something's wrong, it's because it is. Who's in the backseat?
The shape.
Gets her good, starts strangling her, choking her, right? And Nancy Loomis does a phenomenal job at this, acting.
The struggle, right?
The struggle is so good. And you see him. There's a shot inside the car, but you also, the majority, or when the kill happens, it's through, you're seen from outside the car through the foggy window.
So we haven't had a clear image of the shape unless he's in the distance. So we haven't had a close up of him yet. And what I love about this scene is it's his first kill as the shape that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. And it's a struggle. You can hear him breathing heavy. And she's actually struggling, and he's just like holding the neck, right?
Yeah.
But then he has a knife with him. I mean, the knives that he stole from the hardware store, right? So after this struggle, it's almost like he's enjoying it or trying to like figure this out. Like, interesting. Then he pulls the knife out, throat slash, finishes the job. I found that interesting because the first few kills of this film are all strangulations, and you don't really think about that until you really break it down, like we have. And we've done our fun homework. But it's a strangulation, and there's a struggle to it, which is really interesting to me.
I mean, by the time we meet grown-up Michael, he should be better at killing, but really, should he? He's just older.
Right.
He just killed only one person, which was really, he killed Judith.
Right.
And when he was a kid, and he killed her. He killed her with a knife too. But he's like, he hasn't really had a lot of practice. Yeah, he killed a truck driver to steal the coveralls, but we don't see that kill. We don't know how it happened. And he killed the dog, but we don't know how any of this happened. What we see him actually working is with Annie, and this scene is so well done that's just like, oh, this is very uncomfortable to watch,
right?
Because it's not a quick kill, like you mentioned. It is a struggle. So you are on the audience. You're the audience. You're going for it, and she's like honking the horns. You're like, she might get out of it. Nope. He slits her throat, and it's over. And right before, remember we saw the boogeyman. Actually, this is actually when Tommy freaks out. I jumped the gun. He saw the boogeyman earlier, but when he really freaks out is when he's trying to scare Lindsay and he sees Michael carrying Annie into the house, and that's when
he loses it.
Nobody believes me. Oh, what? So,
all right,
Annie's dead.
So now we're introduced.
We're introduced to Bob and Linda. So Bob and Linda are together, and Linda is, and Jamie would even mention it. Linda's the role that every girl kind of wanted to play. This is what Jamie Lee Curtis says. She has the most fun. She's party girl. She's drinking. She's with Bob. They're gonna have sex. It's fun. He's got a van. Fucking Bob is awesome. Okay, I want to be Bob. The glasses, I know I can pull it off. It's very cool. Anyway, they go there. They're going to use the Wallace's house. That's where Annie and Lindsay were. They were going to use the Wallace house to freaky deaky. They're going to go crazy, right? But
lower that voice. Lower that voice.
They're going to have sex. So, having a lot of fun, drinking, going in, and all the lights are off because he cut the power. Yeah. Right? So
smart man.
Linda's trying to figure out what's going on. She's like, Annie, we're here. No answer. Because why? Because Annie's dead. So, okay, well, I don't hear an answer, but I got sex on the mind.
That's right.
Screw it. That's exactly it. Screw it.
Screw it.
Get to it. So they continue after she, confers with Lori across the street. But again, it's a sex scene, but it's shot not like over the top. It's very like real. They're like kind of fumbling around under the covers. There's some moans. There's lots of kisses, but you don't really see a lot. And it's just like, this seems real.
Yeah.
Ish. I mean, like, they're not porn stars. I appreciated that of it. And well, like, it doesn't matter because like John Carpenter was, I think, kind of like weirded out.
He was very uncomfortable shooting sex scenes. So this is why it's so like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
but
all
like,
you get.
Kudos to both of them, but while the sex is going on, there's a light peering in from the hallway and you just see a shadow. Again, the ever-present, just killed somebody, but I'm still working shape.
Right.
He's still watching, and it sucks because it's like there is no moment that is safe. You can be just trying to study in school. You're trying to just watch a horror-thon. You're trying to go see Paul. You're trying to have sex. No moment is safe. I'm there all the time.
That's right. He's always watching.
Yeah. So what comes next is my favorite kill, and it's with Bob after post coitus. Bob,
the iconic.
Bob is sent down, or is asked to go down and go get a beer for him and Linda, who is satisfied. She's satisfied. She's like, fantastic, and you're like, was it?
She looked more like she just woke up from a great nap,
or took a a great nap is how I would put it, Lance. That'd probably be better. Yeah, she's like, ooh, fantastic. You're like, all right, okay, Bob. I guess it's what's written. But they're in love, whatever. So Bob goes down to go get another beer, which it's weird for me. He's like, go give me a beer. And he's like going to the fridge. I'm like, these aren't your beers, these are like the Wallace's beers.
They've taken over. Who cares?
But anyway, he's like, oh, screw it. I had sex upstairs, and now I'm gonna go get some beers. But in the kitchen, which all the lights are off except for the kitchen, the light from the fridge, huh?
It was on. Yeah, that's right.
So it's probably got the generator.
Or it's just on a different story. He didn't cut the main.
No, he didn't cut the main.
He cut each and every one except for the one that the refrigerator.
He's not an animal. He's not going to let that food expire.
No, exactly. Because he is actually hungry. He did not eat the dog. He is still hungry.
He's still hungry.
And at the end of all this shit, he's going to raid the fridge.
He's going to make a sandwich.
And you know what? That's probably why I killed Bob. He's like, I want the fucking beer too, dude. I've never had a beer. I'm 21. What the hell?
What's going on? I'm old enough. Well, that's what happens. Bob goes down, and you're like, we don't know much about Bob, but we know that he's going to die because we could hear that he's like, he hears something. So he's like, he thinks it's Linda playing jokes on him. So he opens a door and he's like, Linda, you asshole. Right?
Yeah.
And then he sees nothing's there. And then he can hear breathing from the door behind him. He's like, all right, come on out. Opens the door, and it's not Linda. It's definitely not Annie or Paul.
Nope.
It's the shape. Stranglehold to the neck. gets him, against the wall, starts picking him up with the left hand. Let's just talk about that. My right hand, my strong hand. That's pretty impressive,
Yeah.
And he's not like jacked or anything. He's no blockhead, he's pretty like lean and stuff. But again, he's not a man. So he's raising Bob up and he's strangling Bob, and he could pretty much stay here if he wants to, but insert my favorite toy, the knife.
That's right.
Stabs Bob so deep in his chest that it pins Bob to the wall.
Right.
And you get
the head tilt.
The head tilt. Him just observing.
The iconic head tilt.
The iconic head tilt. Iconic is going to be used a lot by us, and we don't care.
And again, this scene is shot so dark. You don't really see the shape. It's mostly black. You get a little bit of an outline from the outside lighting, but it's so dark. Which is so cool because you get shown so much through slasher films and through so many movies, and this movie's so iconic, but it's so dark. It is black and blue throughout all these scenes, and we still haven't seen a clear shape up close.
And we're pretty much approaching. It's either the end of the second act or we're already in the third act, but pretty much it's going to start picking up from here as far as the killings go. I mean, it picks up from Annie.
Yeah.
What?
Our favorite part's coming up.
Yeah, absolutely favorite part, because so it's Halloween. You got to be tricky. You got to be doing funny stuff, right? So what does the shape do? He knows Bob has to go back upstairs. He grabs the closest bed sheet.
Yeah.
Puts it over himself, so now he's this ghost shape, but he wants to confuse Linda enough, so he gets Bob's badass glasses.
That's right.
And puts them on over the sheet, over his face. And when Linda sees him appear in the door, she's none the wiser. She's like filing her nails. She's like, cute, Bob, real cute.
Let's just talk about the fact that the shape took the time to find a bed sheet,
right?
Put it over himself, realize I can't fucking see, put holes in the eyes, grab Bob's glasses off of him, who's hung on a wall or a cabinet, puts them on and goes, this is the shit. I'm gonna get in that bed right now.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
this is the way in.
I mean, like, would he workshop with other things? Did he put a blanket? He's like, oh, I'm not fully covered. Did he take off the mask? He's like, I don't look like Bob at all. And he puts his back on. And then he you know what? Ghost. Easiest deal. So
it's a classic. Come on.
He puts the sheet on. He like walks into the wall and shit. He's like, oh,
eye holes.
God damn it, this sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so like, I mean, none of that is seen, and maybe none of it happens because then you would categorize him and put him into like a normal man because
right.
Of course you would make it work. But yeah.
So he heads upstairs.
And there he is with Linda. And Linda's like, showing off her showing off her stuff, and she utters a very famous line, see anything you like. No response because it's not Bob. So she gets pissed. She's like, ugh, I'm gonna call Lori, see what the hell's going on. This is going nowhere. What an insult, by the way.
I know.
It's a terrible insult. If it is Bob, I would just like throw myself down the stairs. This is going nowhere with you and your
like,
2 minute sex.
What an insult.
What an insult. This is going nowhere. So Michael then, with Linda giving him his back, starts approaching her, and the music starts kicking in. Something's up because we all know it's not Bob.
Right.
And she's calling Lori. Lori answers the phone before Linda could say anything. He starts strangling Linda with the phone cord. When Lori hears all these moans and stuff, she's like, all right, Annie. She thinks it's Annie.
Yeah.
You're gonna now I get your moaning or whatever, right? It's like it's like, yeah, okay, fine, because that's your initial reaction. But no, Linda is dying on the other end of the receiver.
Right.
And then Lori's like, all right, well, this is obviously weird because these moans have now turned to not pleasurable.
Right.
So
yeah.
She's like, okay, is everything okay? I'll kill you if this is a joke, right?
Yeah.
And now finally you get the close-up iconic full shot of Michael Myers, the shape.
Right. And how do we get it?
Grabs the receiver, puts it to his ear.
Well, yeah, Linda pulls this sheet down.
Oh, right.
After this struggle, which I know that you love that scene because it is such a struggle. And then we get this great reveal. And why is this such a big deal? Because he picks up the phone.
Yep.
And it's his first legitimate connection
with Lori.
With Lori.
Yep.
and they're on the phone together, literally on the phone.
They're on the phone,
and he's just breathing into the phone.
He's not going to answer, so he hangs up.
Right.
She tries to call back. You know, she looks across the street. The lights are now starting to flash, you know, because they were now off and now they're on. But then he turns everything off, and now she's got to go be a good friend.
That's
so
right.
she knows something's up. She goes across the street. It's wonderfully shot. So long. Lindsay and Tommy are upstairs in the same bed, by the way. Okay, Lindsay.
They're 6 or so.
They're not supposed to be. So she walks across the street. Very long establishing shot. The audience, we all know, oh my God, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't go over there.
Don't go in there.
Don't go in there. And you want to know what John Carpenter did perfectly? He's like, I know you all feel this, so I'm going to stretch it out as long as normally possible. Like, not overdo it.
It is the slowest walk in film history.
She takes her time because the suspense is building. It's building. She gets to the house. She's like, you know, she can't find anybody. It's still dark. She goes up the stairs, opens the bedroom door, and sees Annie dead on the bed, splayed out underneath a tombstone of Judith Myers.
Yes.
That he decided, you know what? I like this house. I like it. Don't get me wrong. But it's
missing something.
It needs something. I know. Let me go get a freaking tombstone.
Which he stole before he did all this.
Yeah, he stole that before.
He's like, you know what? I might need this later.
He was just hiding it on the side. He had it on the side of the house. He's like, it's not ready. It's not ready. I'll know when it's ready.
And that reminds me of the lights flickering. It's like, got to get it right. Lighting down, lighting off.
Yeah.
Candles.
It has to be spooky.
We get candles. We get pumpkins with everything's lit.
Very ceremonial.
Yes, which I love.
Oh, it's awesome. It's the presentation. There's a bit of a, what is that connection? It's left to you, the audience. You're like, why would he get Judith's headstone? Does he believe that they are like Judith? Is this the reason I killed Judith? Is because, anyway, it doesn't matter because it's not really explained, and it doesn't need to be. And I love it. It's so scary because it's not explained. So Laurie sees Annie. She's terrified. She bumps into a wall. Here comes Bob swinging. Oh, they're all dead, obviously. She's terrified there. She opens and she bumps into another wall. Linda's there, dead. It's boom, boom, boom. Oh my gosh, she's terrified. She's in tears. She gets out of the room and she backs up into a corner, and she's you mentioned it one time. It was like she's just beside herself. Like, she's in total shock. Total shock.
What the hell is happening? And you kind of mentioned something I never really thought of is like, is this a trick? I mean, I've had so many tricks played on me by my friends and all this. I just see it as total and absolute shock. She starts kind of crying. She crouches down. There's a doorway right behind her, which is so...
It's pitch black.
It's pitch black. And this is something that I talk about a lot. It's the same thing with Tommy Doyle's scene. Like, it reminds me of my childhood. What is in the blackness of the room? We got a closet we're staring at right now, which we're terrified of. Yeah, like, what is in the dark room right there? I have so many nightmares and dreams about that. What is in there? Danny, what's in there?
The shape. Who's going to be slowly lit by dimmed up, right, by a light, and it's just the mask slowly being illuminated in the darkness.
And it has homework. I watched this at 2 a.m. and I told you, like, I've watched these movies over and over again, but to sit down and finally watch it, this part terrified me at 2 in the morning. I'm like, holy shit, I forgot how much that gets me, just this face coming at Laurie from behind.
Absolutely, man. It's like that thing is like, what is in the darkness? And what if what you think is in the darkness is there? The boogeyman is real, and you found him. Yeah. There he is, right? He's there in the darkness, and he takes a stab at Laurie, and now we are into the final confrontation.
Right.
There's no more poking and prodding. There's no more, I'm going to watch you from afar. I gotcha.
Yeah.
And he takes a stab at her, and maybe he meant to miss. Maybe he missed on purpose. I think we're both in the camp of he meant to miss.
I think he meant to. Yeah, why? I mean, the way he misses, how he misses, and then the chase afterwards is like he wants to chase after Laurie. Like, it's too easy.
I mean,
there she is.
And the thing is, like, Laurie is... Annie dying, you kind of felt bad, but like, Annie was a different character, right? She has, she's annoyed by dogs, because Lester was barking again and getting on her nerves again, right? She hated the family dog. So like there was a bit of an attitude to Annie. So you're like, I'm not saying that you're saying, that I'm not saying that anyone is saying they are this way, so it's okay to kill them. Right. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you are in the camp of being so in favor of good, you don't want Lori to have you don't want anything to happen to her. You can almost say that promiscuity, right? They're having sex. They shouldn't be. They're drinking. They shouldn't be. So it's like you do bad things happen to you. Lori didn't do anything bad. Not one thing. She was the good girl. So we go on to the climax of the movie pretty much. All the while, Loomis has been camped out at the Myers house waiting for Michael to come back. He's just, he's not coming back because he's further away down the street in Haddonfield, as a matter of fact. So just him and Brackett have been, kind of camping out. Brackett's been like circling, not still believing him. But now we have this chase through the house, Lori getting out of the house, out of the kitchen. Some really cool shots happening all where kills that had already existed, and then we get the big run from house to house. And we had seen before Lori left, she went into her little knitting bag and got the keys and put them in her pocket, which she's very, very much at the time. She's wearing some very tight denim blue bottoms, Blue Bell ice cream. I'm thinking about Texas. Bell bottoms. And we see her put the keys in there. So now she's running away from the Shape. She gets to the house and it's locked because she locked the kids in there because, to protect him. And now she can't find the keys. The keys.
I'm so glad you do that. It makes me laugh every time I watch it. And the fact that you caught on to that.
Yeah, she can't find the keys. And while she's looking for the keys, I mean, they could be in the pocket. Maybe they fell out because when he stabbed her, she fell over the stairs. They could be.
No, they're in her fucking pocket because the keys are always in your fucking pocket.
They're always in
That's
your
the joke of this scene is like you always have your keys on you, but you always fucking lose them.
Right.
It's hilarious to me. It is
hilarious. She's losing it because she can't find the keys. And, okay, you can't find the keys. But now here comes the guy that just took a stab at you, definitely killed your friends.
Right.
And he's walking
Danny,
across.
if the keys are in your pocket and the Shape is coming after you.
Yeah, I would forget who I was at that point too. She was hitting the door and she has the wherewithal to grab a flower pot, throw it up to where Tommy and Lindsay are asleep, breaks it, shatters it, by the way. Let's just talk about that. Shatters the deal, wakes up Tommy and he's like, who is it? It's almost like a get off my lawn. Tommy aged like 10 years. He's like, what? The fuck? Get out of here. And she's like, Tommy, open the door. He's like, nah, fine. Taking his sweet old time. Meanwhile, the Shape is not. He's walking pretty brisk.
Yeah.
He's walking and she's hitting the door. And we see Tommy just kind of like rubbing his eyes. He's like, oh my God, I have to deal with this girl again. I'm like, dude, open the door. You were scared as shit earlier. Open the freaking door. And he opens it. She gets in. The Shape doesn't get her. Whew.
But.
Danger's over, right?
But
no. She locks the door, but the side window is open. And he's in the house.
He's in the house.
He's in the house because a normal man would have taken time. He didn't take time because he's not a normal man. He's evil. He's already in the house. She tries to defend herself by grabbing one of her huge-ass knitting needles. He has her dead to rights because he's behind the couch. Surprises her, takes a stab again.
Misses.
This time I think he legitimately misses. He just didn't gauge it properly. Nobody said he was an expert.
It's a pretty great aggressive stab.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you stab.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing for Lori is there's space behind the couch. You see the window open. You literally just saw this guy. You didn't think maybe he's behind the couch?
Well, no. Not only do I don't want to check behind the couch, I'm going to get my back to it.
Right, exactly.
So she arms herself with the needle. Luckily, he misses, but now he's in a vulnerable state. Sas cabron. She gets him right in the side of the neck, and she gets him. She pulls the needle out. He falls to the ground. He drops the knife as well.
The greatest drop ever.
Oh yeah, he just just like kerplumps. Oh, it's so great. I mean, yeah, it continues. She has his knife. She checks on him. He's dead. She drops the knife. She goes check on the kids. But one thing you know about these movies, you know about him now. If you think he's dead, he's never dead. Never. And if he's a man, he would be dead. He's not a man. So here he comes up the stairs, scares the shit out of the kids. Tommy and Lindsay scream. She puts him back in the room. He's coming. It's like dun, 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 dun. She doesn't know what to do. She's upstairs. She's kind of cornered, so she thinks to lock herself in the closet. And she locks herself in. inside, as best you can lock yourself, she kind of just ties these two like doors that fold in, and he's gonna get her. As you're watching, you're like, she has nowhere to go. She is cornered. She's in a closet with and he's got the knife. So, so beautifully shot. He's trying to get her, breaks the, he's not strong enough to just force open the door. So no, screw it. He breaks the shit out of it. He's gonna get her. He's like, it's all dark, but in his grabbing and stuff, he like flicks open the light,
which I love. It's such a natural like.
Do you have it?
Oh, I think I do.
Yeah. So that's what we see. This iconic him busting through. So great. The light's on for only a minute. She has the wherewithal to grab a hanger, undoes it, stabs him in the eye. He drops the knife, and then she gives it to him good at that point. I'm getting really excited. I'm hitting everything. She gives it to him really good, stabs him, and he's definitely dead now, right? Okay.
Leave the knife behind again.
Got to leave the knife behind again. Now she's like, okay, I'm hurt. I need you guys out of the house because the killer's in here. So she sends the kids to go down to the Mackenzies. Tell them to call the police. Do what I say. This is just an impression. Remember I told you about Loomis waiting at the Myers house. He has now made his way down the street because he found the car. So he's looking. He doesn't know what he's looking for. But when he happens to cross paths with the house, these kids, Tommy and Lindsay, run out screaming. And he gives one of those like, well, kids wouldn't just run out screaming, I am looking for a killer. Let me go check out the house. They left the door open. Right. He goes in. But what do we see happen? The shape. Sit up.
Yeah. Behind Laurie
in the foreground, kind of blurred out.
Again, an iconic thing that's been taken from The Undertaker and so many others since.
And he'll be the first to tell you. He's like, that's The Undertaker is a famous wrestler. He's like, that's where I drew inspiration from.
Absolutely.
This like otherworldly presence. And now the shape is like, I've been stabbed. I've been, stabbed a couple of times in the neck, in the eye, in the chest. He doesn't even get the knife. He just is like, all right, I gotta get away from this knife business. So he just
Back
decides
to strangulation.
I gotta go to my bread and butter. Goes right behind Laurie, starts strangling her. And in that moment, Loomis is coming up the stairs. Laurie is still fighting for her life, manages to get the mask off, and we get our first human glimpse of Michael,
right?
Which is eye puffied because he just got stabbed in the eye. Yeah. And that is important because Loomis wouldn't know to shoot him. He sees in the little light that's there, he sees there he is.
There's Michael.
Michael puts on the mask. Put on the mask, dude. I don't give a shit what you're going to put on. You're about to get the business. Bop. Loomis starts, just starts shoot. Well, he shoots him once. Michael recoils, and then Loomis follows him, and it's you love this shot.
Yeah, he goes back into the room, and the way it's shot, you just get like this really dark version of Michael with this silhouette, and it reminds me of like old 1950s monster movies where it's just this being that you got to go, and you get Loomis coming in, and it's this great face-to-face because it's our first face-to-face with these two, and just the way this room is shot and everything is shot, it's more of a monster flick at this one particular moment. And that I love so much. And then Loomis gives him more of the business.
He empties the clip, the revolver. He shoots him 5 more times, and Michael falls off the second story down to the ground. We see him inevitably, or presumably on the floor, dead, with a huge moment in the score where it's like, dun, like almost like, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Laurie and Loomis together for the first time. Laurie doesn't know who it is, doesn't care at this point. Right. Strangers have been trying to kill her. What's cool? I mean, you have a stranger who just saved her life, and Laurie looks to Loomis in tears, says, was it the boogeyman? Or it was the boogeyman.
The boogeyman, yeah.
And Loomis in the gun smoke. As a matter of fact, it was. Awesome. So cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Let's go scoop up the body and let's live our lives after this. But wait, the body's gone.
Of course it is.
He took off. He's like, I ain't staying around for this shit. That shit hurt. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm done with y'all.
Loomis gives this look. It's like, I am surprised this happened, but I'm not surprised this happened.
Right. Great acting choice on his part.
What a wonderful movie. I had to walk you all through the final act just because it's so good.
I love that your pace picked up just like the film does. Just like so much happens at the end.
Boy, Lance, you know how much the suspense kicks up,
Yes,
but how much the action kicks up. It's like we've set the table. Suspense is here,
right?
But now we're not. We're gonna serve you too. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
and that's something you don't get in films anymore. Is how much time this thing takes. There's so much tension and buildup and characters that you actually care about. There's no auxiliary characters in this one, except for Bob maybe, but
and the caretaker at the
but for the most part, you care about these characters to a point of like, I think PJ Souls said she was in the theater once, and somebody's like, "Yeah, that's what you get," kind of a thing. Like, people were rooting for people were rooting against some of these characters. Like, there's just so much, and then at the end, you get such a brilliant payoff, and it all, like, to me, really starts with the walk for Lori is when everything just is like, here we fucking go. Like, you've had a few kills at this point, some great things, but it's that walk and
time's up, time to play.
Yeah.
Time to play with the you're at the main boss basically, which is Lori, which is who we assume you wanted the whole time.
Right.
Wonderful flick, Lance. This is the best movie of all time in my opinion, my favorite movie of all time, and arguably all those points, but not arguably, at least between us, it is the best movie in this franchise.
Right. Absolutely. Definitely my favorite. You just can't compare it. And it sets up so much more that we love, but you cannot compare this movie to really anything else, I don't think.
Because if you don't view the sequels, it as a standalone was perfect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Totally perfect.
Can't really touch it. Yeah. And again, it holds up today. Like, I watched this movie the other night. I'm like, this is still a great movie today. There's a lot of movies in the franchise that are, you can tell they're dated or, just don't live up to what you can watch this. And besides the 70s clothing, I think the movie holds up.
And then the whole thing's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly think, like, you don't need to remake it. You don't need to refilm nothing. It's
I think there's something to be said. Like, maybe the shots that are stretched out, some people might be attention spans might be a little low, but that's all
nowadays. But that's on the people. That's not on the film. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of 70s and 80s films where you're just like, oh, this is from the 70s. This is from the 80s. This film, just the look and feel of it, you're like, if it wasn't for the clothing and the style and some of the lingo, you wouldn't fucking know.
Totally.
And that's what I love about this film. All right, what's your rating?
That's Linda's line. I totally give this
film,
there it is. Give this film out of 5 knives.
5 knives.
Kitchen knives. I give it 20. I give it 5.
5. Absolutely 5. There's no argument. We don't need to get into that. Yeah. It is definitely the best film. Watch it if you have not. I know we just spoiled a lot of it, but it's so worth it. We watched it 20 times.
And even then we still missed some. Well, I know we missed some stuff that are really cool too.
Yeah. All right. Well, join us next time for Halloween 2 from 1981. The best sequel in horror movie history.
Woo!
We'll see you next time. This is Slasher's Paradise. That's Danny. I'm Lance. Peace. 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 Peace.